Abu Garcia, Max STX, the better review. Alright people, I'm pretty sure half of you have already seen my last video on these reels, but I figured that it's been about a year. I've used these products. I've even received one more of these bigger models, and I just figured, with the entire family here, small, big, and right in the middle of what people like, I figured I'd just give you the grand special, the better review. Abu Garcia, Max STX. So we're going to kick this off just how we did last time. I'm not going to compare a spinning rod or a spinning reel to a bait casting reel. I'm going to do them as their own product, their own individual piece of fishing equipment. So I want to start off with the one I really do want to talk about the most. So it is the Abu Garcia Max STX bait caster. So we're going to clear out our other reels and talk about this little John. So I have been fishing this reel for a little over a year now. I received this from the Pops for a birthday gift. Thank you, Dad. And I honestly have been blown away by this. It's not perfect anymore, I will admit. You can literally see just all the grime and greenness to it. This used to be silver. It's like dirty gray now. But the features you get on this, about 14 pounds of drag, flipping switch, clicking drag, roughly about 100 plus yards of capacity, just a generic, marketed stuff. It's all pretty decent, all around. Again, if you want a quick answer, this is a pretty good reel. I'm going to break it down with all the new information, all the new technical specs that I know of now, at least, of where I'm at today. And I'm going to pop open the side plate for you guys. So again, features the typical Abu Garcia little easy tab. Not as nice as some of their Revo X models, but I can touch about that a different day. The real kicker here, they come with a Mag-Trax braking system. It's a pretty simple system. All you got to do to adjust this is just either bring them out, bring them closer, gives you more, tension on the on that spool. And another thing, while we have the spool out, this is a really nice spool design. I was thoroughly impressed with this over the year of usage. Obviously you can see there's a little bit of grime, a little bit of grossness to it. But overall, I am happily surprised. It survived the rigor of the beatdown that I give these reels a lot better than I thought it would. Right now I'm just running, 40-pound X5. I just wanted something that's going to last, the remainder of the lifetime of the reel. And so far, this design, it's not even that heavily cut out. Like, there's not much to make it lighter. It's just an effective design. It's narrow, it's not too deep, and the depth contours are very effective at letting that line start off and build onto the shaft and onto the main spool in a very even manner. You can see there's a little bit of inconsistent winding on here, but it's so minimal that, at less than $100, you're still getting a really, really good package. Let me pop my reel back in here if I can actually get my line to behave, which it wouldn't be surprising if it doesn't want to behave today. But internals just from that end, really, really well rounded as always. I still have, actually for once, the Max X with me today because I figured it's only fair to talk about these two head to head just for a brief moment. Like I said in the first time about, I think 7-10 months ago, about a year ago, whatever you get in this, you get in this, but a little better. This, no click and drag. This one, you get a click and drag. This one, you get a flip and switch, which, okay, fine. It's kind of busted. Works like 80% of the time, if I'm being brutally honest. You don't get that here. It's just a typical press down, click it forward, and it works. Braking system's identical. Drag system, identical. The STX overall really is just what Abu Garcia considers to be the STX series of reels. I'll even write it down for y'all. STX are meant to be workhorses. So they're, generally speaking, what these reels are designed to do It's not be the like definitive premier model of the line. So the Max line is just meant to be the reel that if you want to do something or anything, this reel is going to allow you to do it. So if you want to go flip and pitch, you know, for beginner budget, you can do it with this. If you want to go swim jigging with this or chatterbait fishing, you can do this. And if we're going to keep on moving to the, you know, side and the middle of the reel, you know, we can see this body actually takes a lot of inspiration, not only from the, previous gen Riva models. It took a little bit of the body shape and more so the head design up here around the crown from the Xenon family, which is kind of something you don't see a ton. And what I mean by that is that instead of that kind of a asymmetric design, which I might have improperly mentioned, I can't remember, but you get this super swooshed back aesthetic appeal in functionality. So it's not asymmetric, but it's very, very compact in the hand. It's, you know, I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but this fits beautifully for me, especially on a reel seat. Do I have a reel seat around me? I probably do. I'll grab one in a little bit. But in the meantime, we can move over to the line guide. Now the line guide itself, it's pushed forward a little bit far more forward than the OG Black Max, which again, I finally have for you guys. Like you look at this, you know, the line guide is somewhat far away, but it's pretty stubby. Everything here is old technology. But here you start seeing, you know, some of that Riva technology flowing back in to the Max family reels. Moving on over to the right side of this reel, again, gearbox hasn't skipped a beat. It's probably super gross looking. I have not taken this reel apart. I mean, you can even see I have a little bit of electrical tape just from line winding a couple times with this. Spool tension knob, pretty generic. I mean, it doesn't click, unfortunately, for all you clicky people. Surprisingly, you have a lot of finesse with this. I actually like the textured, you can hear that with my fingernail. I like the textured surface of that and the really high friction of that. So I can really lock in that dialed in feeling. And for all you people who are still wondering how to use a baitcaster, just get it where it barely wiggles. You'll cast a lot farther. Plus your reel handles will probably spin better. Moving forward over to the right again, your drag star does click. Not like it makes a huge deal. I honestly never touch my drag knob that much. But what I really do like is that you get anywhere between about 14 and 15-ish pounds, like all the way locked down. I only use like 6 or 8. I mean, a 3-pound bass can be pulled in with 2 pounds of drag if you're really, you know, good at fishing. So, you know, the amount of pressure you get here, it's not like it used to be. I will admit, again, true transparency, this is the better review. It's a little sticky. Like, there's no way to avoid that on these oil felt drags. They will get sticky over time, even if you try to, you know, leave your drags loose overnight. Like, you can just see, it's not the video glitching, it's just the drag isn't as smooth as it once used to be. It dishes out line really smoothly, just not great on the startup. But, you know, again, overall pressure, like, let me pull a piece of line again. Lock this sucker down as I engage the thumb bar. Like, gee whiz. There's a lot of pressure on that. Like, I don't even want to put that much pressure on my spool shaft anymore. So yeah, no, really, honestly, good drag, good performance overall. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Abu somehow stuffed that much pressure into like a, $70, $60 baitcaster. Probably just gave myself rope burn by doing that. Goes to show how strong that is. Moving on over to the handles again, you get the basic, or not basic, but you get the, you know, soft touch, easy mold grips, you know, bent handle, signature of Abu at this point. You know, I'm pretty sure they just use a bushing mount for this, not a bearing. They spin pretty good still. But yeah, no, these handles are pretty good still. They're a little wobbly now. I mean, it's just because I've been setting the hook so stinking hard with braid now that I've quite literally just worn out my my reel. Yeah, and that's just the sound of the braid hitting the thumb bar, so don't worry. Yeah. But overall, yeah, though the Max STX, if I could sum it up from all the garbage I probably just spewed at you, really good reel. We'll just put this. Bait cast. Pros, strong, compact, and honestly, I'd say long casting, which is a little hard to find in these budget bait casters. Because the problem is that if you put too wide of a spool on, you end up with the problem that when you try to use braid or any kind of thinner line, the line starts not stacking properly. And for a lot of people, again, it's kind of a bummer. It doesn't work very good. Yeah, it's just overall, I'm still extremely impressed with the performance. What I want to say and what I already have said, I've said in previous videos. Again, go watch those again if you want, but there's not much else to say about this than just, hey, if you can find this on sale, they're a little harder to find now because they've been selling so good. I think it's going to be a really good first baitcaster for a lot of people. I know for me, this wasn't my first, definitely was not my last. I laugh at that now. But if you just need a good package, this is going to serve you so good. You can put mono on it, you can put fluoro on it, and like I did, I have 40-pound braid in it. It works great. You know, overall, fantastic reel. I suggest you would try it. We're going to move on to the next. We're going to move on to the second reel, and this is one I adore. I have caught so many fish on this little reel. It is insane. And going back to what we said before, Max STX, it's always been built about being workhorse reels at a performance budget, or at a budget performance. And that couldn't be, you know, more true for the STX in the lovely, we'll focus, 10 size. So this is what Abbott Garcia considers a 1000 in their rule book. I consider this to be true. I want to start from the internals and work our way out. You know, again, I'm starting this review over with more knowledge that I have, you know, as just somebody who works at a tackle shop and somebody who also now knows more about spinning reels, thankfully, after owning a couple nicer ones. Highlights of this reel, it already comes with spool shims on here. You don't really need to put anything on or take anything off. The line length you see here is, as it came, you know, it's pretty standard. It's perfectly level. It's pretty close to each other. I wouldn't put into like Daiwa or Shimano class of, you know, perfection, but for what I needed it for, it was honestly, it hit the mark. Like, I can cast really good on this and it's just fine. You know, the whole oscillating system, still really, really good. And this is coming now from someone who does now own a couple Fluger Presidents. I genuinely like fishing with this better than a Fluger President. And the biggest reason why is that, yes, this is a lighter and technically weaker material, graphite, but it's just so much easier on the startup. Like, I can just make this thing dance around like there's no tomorrow. It's still such a joy to use this. I've caught bass, I've gotten small pike, but I mean, I've also gone trout fishing with this. And again, that Everlast bail that I talked about in the first video, it hasn't bent out still. So, I mean, it speaks for itself. It's an everlasting system. I never did figure it out, but I'm like 80% sure it's just a bushing inside the line roller. But this is, again, just a really kind of basic system. This isn't anything too crazy or fancy. Will my camera focus? Challenge of the night? Probably not. Oh, there you go. Now you can see it. So yeah, that line roller is just a generic, you know, old school Abbott design. It's not contoured or coned in. It's a very flat surface. So yes, if you start using like super finesse braids, that's kind of where you run into this somewhat ugly line laying. It's not, again, it's not bad by any means. It's just, I can, you know, definitively say this reel is going to work better with 10-pound braid. It's going to work better with 8-pound mono and fluoro. It's just how it is. It's a cheaper reel. You can't avoid that. It's just how things like these work out generally. Moving across the reel, body, still graphite, as always. It's a lightweight material. You know, it's better than using plastic and, you know, giving the customer a cheap feeling reel that they're just not going to enjoy. Drag. So if I remember correctly, these punch out about 6 pounds on a good day. I mean, 3 pounds is probably what you're going to expect. I've horsed in a lot of bass with this. I mean, it's just fine. It's your typical Abbott Garcia with a power stack. oil felt system. I mean, you can literally see all the grime just that's built up over time. But again, I find this drag system to be better than a Fluger President, which is shocking. And I wanted to love those reels so much, but I keep finding myself coming back to these reels. And these were, I think, were like $69, $59 originally, like original marketed sales price. And no, they absolutely blew me out of the water with just how nice the drag payout is. I mean, yeah, it's a little loud, but I like my drags to be loud because then I figure out, hey, reel, drag goes out, stop reeling, reel, drag starts pitting out again. You know, the normal business. You know, stuff that just makes it easier to fish and get less line twist. And that's what I want to go over next. You know, how does this reel actually manage line? Now, that's a really big deal for all of us people who are, you know, buying budget gear. How's it going to manage, you know, my $15, $20 box of line? And I give it a solid, let's put in the grand scheme of things, I'd give it a good 6. And that's, you know, going up against like really expensive reels. So that's a pretty generous amount. So it's not going to be like, you know, what was it, Shimano Vanford or Stella levels of line lay, but it's definitely not like Shakespeare agility or whatever they call those things. It's right in the middle, maybe even above average, because when you go to cast this, it just falls off the reel. I mean, I'll use this reel as an example just to make a mess for you guys. If I can get the hook keeper to behave with me, yeah. Line just totally pours off his face so effortlessly. I mean, it's just a work of art. I mean, I love it. You can hear that drag again. Super clicky, super fun. Overall, a lovely experience to be fishing with. And if you're wondering what I'm putting these reels on right now, I'm actually putting this on an ugly stick. Matches up really, really good. So FYI, for all you people who like ugly sticks, go buy yourself a Max STX. So there you have it, the 1000 size. Again, it's everything I've already said. Again, the better review here is really just about, you know, saying how is the performance over a year. And I can say with 100% confidence, this is a fantastic 1000 size reel. The line lay, management, casting experience, winding experience, the gearbox and everything, it's all been exceptional for the price, per se. You know, I can't compare it to $200 reels because it's not a $200 reel. It's a roughly $60, $50 reel. And that's okay. So overall, great package, you know, never gonna see a Max. All right, moving on to the new toy that I figured it would only be fair if I brought it out to play with. So this is going to be the Max STX size 30. Look at that thing. Now, isn't that just a sight to behold? So I bought this with the intention of doing a technique I call finesse flipping. So I have here loaded up some 10-pound X5. I've been throwing around little 3-inch pit bosses and jigger craws. And with 14 pounds of drag for a spinning reel, it worked out a lot better than I thought it would. But that's another topic for another day. Back to the reel. You know, I'm going to crack this little candy thing open. You know, we're going to see the same exact internals as we saw about a minute ago. But it doesn't hurt to show you guys, again, spool shaft, it's seen better days. You know, I've been using it super frequently. I actually, again, really love these reels. And I own Revo X's. I have an SX now, too. But it is oddly smooth. It is uncannily smooth. For how much I paid for this. I got this one for like barely $20 on a clearance event. So, again, yeah. Everything from the small 1000 size over there, you get here. I mean, the Everlast bail is even thicker. It is so comically huge. It's like having a basketball rim on your spinning reel. It is honestly hilarious. I laugh at this thing whenever I look at it down at my feet. But honestly, it's worked out better than Daiwa reels. And this is something I really tell a lot of people. If you're looking to go to Daiwa or Shimano and you're a bank fisherman, pay attention to your bail. Pay attention to how thick this is. Because there's a good chance that either you might drop your rod or just set it down on the ground and you might just bend out that bail. And that's the last thing you want to do while you're fishing with an expensive piece of equipment. That's, again, just why I have so much confidence in these reels. You know, STX is not just about workhorse. It's also about confidence. And this is something we saw in the Revo series as well. You know, those reels were designed with just pure performance. And the same thing applies here. You get pure performance out of this reel. So, again, I didn't have to put a single shim on here. I mean, you can see line light is pretty okay. If I can get this thing to focus. There we are. I'll put the white backdrop in there. The white backdrop, that is. So you can see, again, line light, pretty alright. I'll get a little pen out here, or heck, I'll get a fishing lure. So you can kind of see right where the head of the jig head is. There's a little divot there, and this is pretty standard to see on reels of this price point. They're not going to lay line as good as like $100 or $200 option, you know. But this is, you can see the individual layers of this. It's just fine. It works really good. And I didn't touch it on the other reel, but the rocket spool lips. I put this as like a medium light strength one. It's not going to balloon your line out super heavily, but it's going to be just enough so that when your reel is full all the way, you'll get a super good long cast. So that's the spool for you. Again, tick system, pawl system, drag system, they all work as expected. I put this reel on a 7-foot medium heavy moderate fast. Excuse me. And yeah, no, it worked out really, really good. Handles are ambidextrous as per standard of Abu Garcia procedure. I mean, most reels nowadays are ambidextrous. I figured I'd leave this, you know, piece of information in for you guys. This is an aluminum handle. Most reels come with a plastic or graphite handle, which I genuinely despise. But no, that's aluminum. Can I find a piece of lead here? I can. Yeah, solid as a rock. So again, maybe not the best overall reel, but I've just put so much time into these and had enough experience to the point where it's like, I don't have the urge to really get anything else, because, you know, you're only paying for like a mild trade for different features. And this, you get everything you want. I mean, you can just hear. For some reason, the 30 size is just butter quiet still. I mean, I don't know why. I have a good feeling it's just because the gearbox is just generally speaking larger. They put more, you know, grease into it. Keeps the reel, you know, lasting longer. You know, I'd honestly say this is a fair contender for like your first spinning reel if you want to go to a bass size. Because I'll drop this piece of information for you guys. Bigger spools dish out more line per coil on cast, generally speaking, if you're using a medium or medium heavy. Much more evenly than like a size 1000. That's honestly the whole reason I bought the size 30 compared to the 1000, because I started catching too big of a fish on the regular to keep using a 1000 size reel. So it's not that I even expect it to get spooled. It's just that I get more cranking power, I get more torque, I get more inches per turn, and generally speaking, a more even drag experience, because the drag here can just pretty much get cooked all the way through and it will do just fine the next day. You know, the balance is even just fine in the handle. Like, it's not going to torque out like most reels do at this price. So, again, super duper fun reel. You know, 30 size, great for bass, pike, walleye. I mean, any of the game fish that you're going to be generally looking for in any kind of like inland like lake or river system, it's going to do just fine. So, if I really had to wrap up and sum up the whole STX lineup as a whole, these are really, really good, long-lasting reels. I have had people come back with issues on the X series. I've had people come back with issues on the Pro series of the previous gen of Max reels. But for some reason, and not even a reason I didn't expect, but was happily surprised with, all of the STX reels have seemed to be like a labor of love by Abu, and they just were really well built. And I know these aren't the best reels for the money. You can find technically better options for the time. But now with how these are going on clearance, it's almost hard to say no. So if I had to just put in a couple words for each model, 30 size, great power finesse reel. A lot of cranking power, a lot of juice going into that reel. Size 10, a lot of smoothness, a lot of casting power for a small spinning reel. And the bait casting option, it is just pure joy. I mean, you get a feature you might only find on $100 reels, and a lot of you guys are probably trying to stick on a budget, so having anything that makes the whole experience more fun for the price you pay is worth it. And I know it's still worth it for me, and that's why I still use mine today, as close as it is to completely putzing out and losing its grip. I still love them all, you know. Super cool reels. And if you can find any of these spinning or casting on sale, I genuinely hope you guys just give them a try. Load them up with braid, load them up with floor or mono, whatever line you want. These were designed to handle any kind of line perfectly smoothly. I've tried them all, works fine. And yeah, that is the Abu Garcia Max STX family. If I missed anything in this video, if you have made it to this point in this video, I sincerely congratulate you. You are a loyal viewer, and I appreciate, that kind of dedication. I hope you learned something in this video, and if you didn't, well, I guess you enjoyed my blabbering about fishing reels. So I will catch all of you guys in the future, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, wherever you are. Stay safe and tight lines.